Hello, my dear friends. You're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 2nd of April. And first of all, today we'll start from the north of the Ukraine. We'll start from the Kiev district, Chernihiv district, and Sumy district. According to the latest information we got, we can say that Kiev district is totally under Ukrainian control. And this situation we can also see on the Russian source map. This territory is totally under Ukrainian control. This one map is not updated yet, but I think that sooner or later this map will be updated. Now about Chernihivsky region. These two maps, they're saying that some of the towns in Chernihiv district were also became under Ukrainian control. For example, this is town named Gorodnya, is under Ukrainian control. Slavuchich is under Ukrainian control. Another town around the Chernihiv town. The Russian sources map, they're saying that also some of the towns were returned back to Ukrainian side. There is some difference between the territory which under Russian control. As far as you see, according to Russian map, they're controlling just the north and northwest of Chernihiv, and according to this map, they're controlling most of the Chernihiv district. I can't say about this territory, there is no news from this territory, but we'll see what's going to be next there. Very important and very interesting news are coming from the Sumy district. This is the Sumy district, and if we are saying about this district, for example, Chernihiv district, the Russian forces, while regrouping, they're going to the north to the Republic of Belarus, and then using the territory of this country, they're moving to the Russian Federation, and some forces are going back to Chernihiv district to enforce this army. Some of them are moving to the south to the Donbas border. These guys, they are staying still, at least for now. They are leaving some towns, but just for purposes to enforce their forces on the north of Chernihiv. And today I got information that there are no clashes on the Chernihiv and Chernihiv are the same. They're not became less heavy, less aggressive. The same picture as it was a week ago. And about the Sumy district. We discussed the regrouping of Russian forces in Sumy district yesterday. Russians, they use these roads, and their main purpose is moving through the Kursk, Belgorod, and then they're moving to the south to the town named Izum. But today we got very interesting information. The mayor of Sumy, this is the center of the Sumy region, the main town there, he told that Russians, they are not leaving the Sumy for 100%. For example, if Russians left this territory for 100%, the Sumy mayor told that these territories, the part of this territory, are still under Russians. And he named the towns where Russians established their base, and not like base, but fortified area. And as far as I understand, Russians are not planning to leave this territory at all. What is this territory? Russians, they established their base on the east of town named Konotop. They prepare their fortified area in triangle between Burin, Putivl, and Vorozhba. This one. So they're preparing something like small background on Ukrainian territory, and we can understand that well. Because this background may serve different purposes. First of all, they want to show Ukrainians that they are not leaving this territory at all. And you see the rivers in this area, and they are very difficult. And the towns that they're planning to keep under their control is located on these rivers. So they are, in case if everything goes, so I think, and some of Russian experts, they say that in case if everything goes well in the south, on the Donbas border, Russians are planning to keep here some territory under their control, which they don't need to take back after they succeed on the south. So, for example, I'm not sure, and I don't think that if they will decide to come, if they decide to come back here, they will be able to cross this river. So that's why they're keeping their soldiers on the most difficult part of this territory. So in case if everything in the south go well, they will come back here and they will be able to move to the west very fast, as they did at the beginning of this special operation. Now we're moving to the south, to the Kharkiv. Kharkiv is under very heavy fire control and artillery strikes. Russians, they're doing regroups, and most of the their traffic is going using this road. So this road, this one. So they're moving to the Izum. If we are talking about regrouping into the Izum town, and as far as I know, Kharkiv garrison, they were preparing a feast here, and of course the main idea was to attack using this road. Using the army in the Kharkiv, they were planning a strike into Russian columns, which are moving using this road to town named Izum. That's why Russians, they decided to strike, and they're pressing this town very much. So they're not giving even chance to these forces to start their movement. And also, Russian today, we need to understand that the Russian, they're doing regrouping from the north to the south, and Ukrainians, they do the same situation as well, the same thing. Of course, they are keeping some soldiers. As far as I see, there every day we see that they are cleaning up and returning the control of some towns, and every day they're moving to the west, to the east, step by step. But also now they understand that they need to drop at least 25,000 here, like on this front line. They're planning to prepare. And the Russians, they bomb, as far as you can see on this map, all the central part of Ukraine. They were bombing railway stations, they were bombing oil stores, they were bombing airports, they were bombing everything. They thought that there were fuel there, because we understand that to drop some armored mortar vehicles, Ukrainians, they need fuel as well, and we know that they have some problems with fuel because during last few weeks we heard every day like Russians destroyed their fuel stores in the central, in every part of Ukraine. So that's the problem, and they will continue doing this, and also they added the targets the railway stations, because if you don't have fuel to transport your vehicles, then you can use railroads for these purposes. And they were blowing these stations not to allow Ukrainians to drop armored vehicles and even manpower to this region. They see that there is a lot of bombing here. Now we are moving to the northeast part of Donbas border. You see, there is also a lot of bombing here, and as far as I know, Russians, the mayor of town named Rubizhnoye, he took the Russian position, and very soon, as far as I understand, this town will fall, and after this town, Severodonetsk will fall as well, and Russia will establish the front line right in front of Lysychansk, and then they will try to cross the river Seversky Donetsk in this region. They also need to do this because the main Russian tactic is to attack enemy from different sides, from north, south, west, and they like to do this at the same time. Now we're moving to the south, to the Gorlovka region. You see there is a small front line between Gorlovka and Avdiivka, with very heavy clashes, with very bloody battles. Russians, they're moving kilometer by kilometer to the west north to cut this road. We can see this on this map. Russian sources, they're announcing every day that Russians, they're moving very slowly, but they're moving they're breaking through their Ukrainian front line. Very heavy, very tough, and very difficult front line. So now they're in town named now Bakhmutovka. Now we're moving to the south part of Donbas border. There are less changes. There are still battles around the town Velika Novoselka. So we'll see what's going to be next here. In Mariupol also, Russian forces and forces of republics, they're continuing cleaning up this territory. They're trying to, and a lot of very bad pictures and videos are coming from this territory. Yesterday we discussed the situation with evacuation of some people from this territory. We still don't know who was that exactly, but every party of this conflict are saying that the situation with Ukrainian soldiers there are very critical and very bad. So we'll see what's going to be next. Another very critical news are coming from the Nikolaev and Kherson region. Russian forces they increased their army in this territory in Kherson region up to 3 times. Mayor Nikolaev, who lost almost all his soldiers without any battles, he started to say that soon Russians will try to attack this town. I'm not sure about that because now the main target for Russians is the Donbas border. I think they brought here 3 times more soldiers just to be sure that while operation in Donbas, there will be no surprises here and Russians will be able to hold this territory without any problems. Another very bad news are coming from Ukraine, and it's not about war. It's about war, but it's not about the clash. It's about towns and territories. I want to say that during last week there were a lot of war prisoners exchanges between parties. And I want to say one thing, that if you saw something else in the West Sources information portals, please let me know. Please share with the links. But as far as I know, Russians, at least they're trying to show very good picture with the prisoners. If they're taking prisoners, if they're not dealing with them on the battlefield, if they're taking prisoners, as far as I know, they're working with them very well. They're giving them food, they're cleaning them, they're giving them a place where they can sleep and so on. And today from Belgorod we got very unpleasant news from the hospitals. Like a few days ago there were prisoners of war exchange, and very bad and very terrible, horrible pictures coming from the hospitals. There are a lot of soldiers which were under Ukrainian prisoners. They have no fingers. According to these sources, they're saying that Ukrainians they cut off their fingers on their hands. But it's not the worst thing they're doing. As far as I know, we didn't saw any picture. It's just the messages on every Russian side sources. The Ukrainian forces, while the Russians were in there at the prisoners, they cut off their balls and penises. It's very horrible. I hope it's not true. I hope it's not true. But a few videos ago, I told you about the cruelty of this war, about the anger, and about the things that Ukrainian authorities ordered to do with Russians. And I told you that they ordered to bury Muslims in this skin of pigs, and also there were news, but I didn't want to tell you 2 weeks ago about that one of the minister of Ukraine, he ordered to cut off Russians' balls in case they will get into if they will be captured. And it's very horrible news, because if war become more and more aggressive, that's mean that we shouldn't wait any mercy. And war can be ended only in case if we can find at least some mercy here. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe my channel. Enjoy your weekend.